Hello Australia, welcome to episode 530 of The Couch. We have got such a big couch today that I had to bring in some extra cameras. Let me tell you who's on. We're talking theatre today with Catriona Co. Can't wait for that one. Later on, we're talking about Frank Prokop's actually coming and talking about patience and talking to your doctor and how to do that. Later on, we're talking to the people behind Secondbite, a fantastic charity using food that's going to be thrown away and giving it to people who need it. Later on, let me tell you, we're talking about your money. Do you have a credit card that's out of control? Well, join us later on for that. And later on, we're also talking to the author of these 3 great books. And we've got this wonderful young girl, Farraday Tween. Tweens. I'm confused. She's coming up very soon. So it's episode 530. Stick around. It's going to be a big couch. We're going to use 5 cameras and it starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can watch it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with friends.
Never realised how small the set looked until I had people behind me. Big show. Hope you can stick around. We've got heaps. We've also got the final of the Fasta competition. I'm giving away five vouchers. Confusion. That's trickery in television. 5 vouchers. Please join us for that as well. Fasta $50 vouchers. But to open the show, standing right here, when I click my fingers, she will appear. Magic of television. Her name is Farraday Tween, and she's singing a beautiful song called I'll Stand By You. Have a look.
I heard your eyes will never disguise the spark you lived there before. And I know that you're so much more than you're showing. The clouds in your head will bring you to tears, but I will catch every drop, even if it don't ever stop. 'Cause you're worth it, you're worth it. When you fight for every breath and the waves are overhead, let me lay your mind to rest. I'll stand by you when all of your dreams are shattered and your world is left in tatters. When you fight together, I'll stand by. I will stand by you. If black is your brightest color, if hurt is your only lover, when you fight together, I'll stand. Stand
There you go, that's Farraday Tween. She'll be back at the end of the show with another great song. She's only 8 years old, so she's a wonderful young talent. We don't even need to turn around like they do on The Voice. She's got our attention. Okay, somebody else that's got our attention is our very own Grace, and she's got a great guest talking about theatre. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you very much, Fred. I do have two wonderful guests here today, Catriona and Sandra Sando. It's lovely to have you both on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys are actresses from the award-winning play written by Noel O'Neill, Holly and Ivy.
That's right.
And very excitingly, that has been chosen for the Edinburgh Festival in Scotland. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And can you guys actually tell me what the play is about?
Yes, I'll tell you about the play. It's set in Scotland, Christmas Eve. It's about two sisters. I'm the elder sister, obviously, and this is the young one. And I'm the spinster sister, and my young sister has, because there's been lots of tension, she doesn't feel that her mother loves her as much as what she loves me. So she has taken herself off to live in London for the last few years. They've just reunited on Christmas Eve, and their mother has just died. So there's a lot of resentment because I'm annoyed that Holly hasn't arrived home in time to say her goodbyes. So there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, and Holly feels that she's always been on the outer, you know, with her mother and her sister. So there's lots of things, a lot of angst and drama, and then there's the coming together at the end where hopefully it's all resolved.
So what's really been affecting people about this play is the fact that it's based on real life and what people go through. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you are. I mean, the play was written by Noel O'Neill, who has written a lot of plays. He's a very prolific writer, and he writes about real life, and that's what we loved. When we read the script, we fell in love with it separately. We didn't know each other. We were invited by Noel to have the roles, and both of us read the play and thought, my God, we have to, you know, I was on the phone to him, Noel, I have to play Holly, you were the same.
I cried at the end.
So it's a tremendous play, very, very much based in real life, and I think that's been why it's been successful.
And it's won a lot of awards, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We have, we've won quite a few.
So how long has it been going for, this play?
First run we did in 2008.
Right,
and then
so it's well developed.
Well developed, we've changed it a bit.
Yeah, we've changed little bits.
Yeah, but I guess you only keep putting something on if it gets a response, and we've been very fortunate.
And the reviews have been fantastic. I've been reading about the play.
Thank you.
So, as an actress, you're both from Scotland, and it's going back to Scotland.
That's right.
Can you tell me about, you know, being in Australia and being in a Scottish play and going back to Scotland with the play?
Well, for me, it's just been wonderful. I mean, this play we feel was just made for us.
Yeah.
It was made for us. And so it's been exciting doing it here, but it is more exciting taking it back to Scotland, just because, well, so many Scots, I think, will just relate to it. Nobody will ask us, what did they say because of the accent or anything. They will all totally understand, but it's just, I don't know.
But the great thing is that it's a Scottish play and people have been loving it here. And
they'll love it even more back there.
Yeah, so how exciting. And you know, when is Edinburgh actually on, can I ask?
Okay, I mean, the festival starts really soon. We run from the 6th of August to the 23rd of August, so it's going to be kind of crazy because we're performing every day for 3 weeks, but we're really looking forward to it. And for us, I mean, the thrill is that the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is the biggest fringe festival in the world, so big international stage. It might be home, Scotland, but it's an international stage, and we're pretty chuffed about the fact that we've made it, and really looking forward to doing the work, just getting started.
We're one of about nearly 3,000 shows, isn't it? So it's just a real dream.
It's a real dream, and it will be such a great vibe there. And have you actually performed this on an international stage, or is this the first time?
This is the first time.
This is the first time.
First time out of Australia, isn't it?
Yep, first time we go international. So
have you been around Australia with the play, or is it just mainly Perth?
No,
just Perth.
God, you should go around Australia as well.
Here's an idea.
Well, we initially thought that we would not do anything else other than this play for the rest of our lives.
We love it. We really love it.
Well, how exciting, guys. And where can people, who may be in Scotland, go to some sort of website to book tickets?
Yeah, anyone here or in Scotland, or if you've got friends in Scotland, the website is www.edfringe.com. So just again, www.edfringe.com.
And I strongly suggest to anyone to go and see this play because it's had hit reviews and it's won a lot of awards. So massive congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
And if you did miss any of that, go to thecouch.com.au. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Gracie. Nice to have you here, and we'll hopefully see you at the end of the show. Now, I promised you 5 giveaways of these vouchers. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 there. Okay, if you want to win one of our last 5 vouchers, all you have to do is first you've got to watch and learn about their new menu, and then I'll tell you how you can win. Here it is.
Introducing Fasta Pasta's new lunch menu.
Lunch the way I like it, please.
Just choose your fresh pasta
Linguine.
and your sauce
Fiorentina.
from just $9.90, then add sides and drinks. Lunch the way you like it for a price you'll love. Only at Fasta Pasta.
If you'd like to win one of those 5 vouchers, thanks to Fasta Pasta, they're worth $50 each. You can take 5 friends if you're the lucky person that win them all. I'm giving them all to one person. $250 worth of vouchers. Have a party at Fasta Pasta. Close them down because they can't serve you fast enough. They will be wonderful. All you have to do is put the word Fasta Pasta on an SMS. It's on screen right now. Spell it wrong, otherwise I don't know why, but you got to spell it wrong. Fasta Pasta, spelt that way. Put it on there, put your name and address on the SMS and send it to 0439 929 929. That's 0439 929 929. Name and address must be on there if you're considered a winner. And you win one of these 5 vouchers and you can get 5 vouchers. There you go. I think we've played that game enough. Someone that wants to teach me how to talk is Frank Prokop. He's a health advocate, and welcome back to the couch.
Great to see you, Fred.
Nice to have you back, Frank. Now, Frank, today we're going to talk about talking to our doctors. What's that all about?
One of the things that patients most commonly say gives them a lot of concern is understanding what the doctor's actually saying to them. People feel somewhat intimidated. They feel like the doctor knows much more than what they do. The doctor's using jargon frequently. You may not know. And you come away from your meeting with your doctor still not having an understanding. The doctor then feels threatened because you go to Dr. Google.
And get the information.
And the information may not be accurate. And what we need to be thinking of it is as a partnership and as a team approach. The doctor may be the coach, but you're still in control.
So why do we have this problem? Why are people frightened? I know you say that is it because they feel they're not as intelligent or they're not across the full bottle sort of thing?
It varies very much from person to person. The other thing that's so important, Fred, is that you get a shock. And one of the things I'd like to talk about is what happens if you get bad news from your doctor.
All right, so say, for example, I've come to see you as my doctor. You're going to tell me I've got cancer. What do we do in that situation?
Well, what I would suggest strongly is that you make sure you bring someone along who can be objective in terms of them hearing what the doctor says. Having had a cancer diagnosis myself, the first thing that you do is you hear the word cancer and your mind goes spinning.
You shut off, don't you?
And by the time you come back in, the doctor's been speaking for 5 or 10 minutes. You may not have any understanding what's actually happened. You need someone to translate. Some doctors will allow you or even encourage you to take a tape recorder to those sessions so that you can play it back at your leisure. The other thing is very important to make sure they write down the critical terms so that you can go to a website and get accurate information and useful information. The other thing as a patient is to understand that there are 2 forms of support that are really important. One is emotional support and the other is practical support. And the practical support is the person who can listen to what the doctor is saying, even when you're cracking up because they're telling you that you've got a life-threatening illness such as cancer.
So it's very important, even with these diagnoses, even if you feel that you're strong enough at understanding what's the jargon, you may have had a history of. I think we're losing one of our guests. I might just, this is live TV. Can I just get you to pop up? This is live TV. If you can jump up and I'll let you leave the show. It's probably better that you die outside the studio. We love it. See how well I did that? I'm a doctor. I told the patient best to die outside while we're recording the studio. Is that how...
And hopefully there'll be some emotional support for her as
everybody
well.
Clap in the studio, please. She did that very well. Frank, back to you. Let's talk about that diagnosis. You say you need to bring a person with you that can support you, moral support. Now, it's very important, isn't it, that even if you feel you can handle it on your own, that you take somebody with you.
Absolutely, because they will hear very different things to what you hear. You're looking at it from the perspective of what does it mean to me? What am I going to go through? Am I going to be having chemo? Am I going to be having radiotherapy? Am I going to have to put my life in order? And I've been talking to doctors about moving away from a percentage diagnosis to what I call a traffic light model. So if it's red, does that mean I have to stop everything and get myself in order? Is it amber, as most of the conditions of cancer and other things really are now? Or is it green, which means like a melanoma that I'm having cut out? We should be able to beat it, but by all means, don't pretend like it's a trivial matter.
What happens if we don't have someone to take with us? I mean, what if you don't have family? What if you don't have a partner or someone close that's available?
Well, this is one of the saddest things about our health system, is that we don't have guides that can come along and hold your hand, people that have been through it. You can ask your doctor if they have someone who's been through the condition, who's been a survivor, to be able to give you advice to get through those really difficult times. And the other thing, of course, Fred, is understand you're going to have bad times. That the diagnosis is going to be significantly threatening to you. You're going to work today, the doctor tells you you've got something like cancer, you're not going to work tomorrow, makes a completely different thing. Understand that. Don't be afraid to seek help, and don't be afraid to talk openly about your feelings. Also understand that your friends may not be able to cope either.
Exactly.
So they may actually add to your burden rather than alleviate it.
They might get very emotional and stress themselves and then make you feel even worse.
But once again, knowledge is the enemy of ignorance. And the best way to do that is to go back then to your GP, and your GP is the basis of your medical relationship. Get them to explain carefully what's happening and explore options, because you always have options. The doctors will sometimes very aggressively suggest what you need to do, it's in your best interest, but you may make a decision that you want to go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival to see this play, and that you'd rather do that than sit and have radiotherapy and be very chronically ill.
But you make a well-informed decision, that's what you're saying.
And you understand that there are consequences as well, and that the doctor is not responsible for the consequences, that you make your choice.
Exactly. Let's recap again. If you're needing to speak to your doctor, the reason why we say you should understand when you speak to your doctor is for what reason?
Because if you don't understand what's happening to you, you can't be an active participant in your own treatment.
So be well informed, bring a friend with you or a relative or someone that can give you moral support, and understand that when you hear bad news, you might crumble, you might collapse, you might faint. You need someone for moral support. It's very important. Now, as you said, there's no organisation that provides that moral support, but maybe if you knew that you're going to see a doctor about some tests, try and find someone in advance. Take somebody.
There are some specific support groups for specific types of cancer. The Cancer
Council.
There's Cancer Council, Cancer Support Association, and other groups. But in some cases, they're not there. The immediacy of understanding what the complications might be is very difficult. What you have to do is take the time that you need to understand, make sure that you feel like you're in control of as much of the treatment as you can do, participate, be a partner, be active, and then you'll go for the best outcome.
And you can face the challenge with the best possible weapon, I suppose, in the way of handling it, because you know what's wrong with you, you know how to deal with it, or you can look for help to help you deal with it.
Fred, even with the bad cancers like pancreas cancer, 7.2% of people live more than 5 years. Amazing. The important thing is to make sure that you're part of that 7.2%. And the medical fraternity at the moment isn't very good at understanding what are those factors that lead you to that. What we need to do as patients is to say, we want you to work with us so that in 5 years we're having the same discussion.
Fantastic. And Frank, are you available to go with people when they need to be spoken to by doctors?
If someone really needs me, I've done it for a number of people, and it really is important.
Fantastic. Well, I wanted to touch on that because I know that you know what you're talking about. You've dealt in the health industry for a long time. It is a very scary time when needing to go to a doctor. And I had my father who had bladder cancer a few years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. He didn't understand a word of English. I actually was more emotional than him because it was like, oh, how do I tell a 70-year-old man that he's got cancer? But you know what? It's very important. What you touched on today, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. It's very, very important. Thank you to Frank Prokop. Thank you for coming in. We're going to talk about something else next time you come in.
Thanks, Fred.
You got another topic?
Absolutely.
You always have it. There's heaps of health topics, and if you want some information lined up, or if you want Frank to maybe answer some questions for you, please send those to us. Go to our website, thecouch.com.au, and send me an email, and I'll pass it on to Frank and we can talk about next time. Busy show. And can I just give you some update? Sandra that walked out before is okay. Rest assured, Frank, we did support her. She had a glass of water and we are charging her for the airtime. We'll be back with more after the break. Thanks for watching. Well done. Welcome back to The Couch here on Aurora Television, Foxtel Channel 183. Thanks for your company. I hope you're enjoying the show. One of the things I love on this show is that we get the opportunity to promote many charities and the great work that they do. Today's charity is one that is national around Australia. They do an amazing job. They're called Secondbite. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Secondbite. Secondbite exists to provide access to fresh, nutritious food for people across Australia who are in need. Today, we're going to talk to the CEO, Elaine Montegriffo, but first, check out this commercial from Channel 10.
I promise to eat my greens.
I promise to eat my greens.
I promise to.
Community food services like Secondbite to get the nourishment they need. Secondbite collects fresh, nutritious food that would otherwise be thrown away and distributes it to people in need. Please help us get more fresh food to the people who need it most. Donate now. Secondbite, fresh food for people in need.
Promise to eat my greens.
That is, of course, the promo, and thanks to Channel 10 for allowing us to use that. But let's welcome the CEO of Secondbite. Her name is Elaine Montegriffo. She's from Melbourne, and she's on the phone right now. Welcome to the couch, Elaine.
Hi, Fred. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, tell me a little bit about Secondbite.
Secondbite, as you've mentioned, we supply fresh, nutritious food to people in need. But if I can just sort of step back a bit, I think it's absolutely shocking that in Australia we're wasting $8 billion worth of food every year. Most of that food is going to landfill, where it's rotting and creating methane, which is a greenhouse gas. It's also, when we waste food, we're wasting water and we're wasting energy. And at the same time, there's 2 million people in Australia who haven't got enough to eat. So really what Secondbite does is quite simple. We rescue some of that surplus food that's headed to landfill, but it's still perfectly good to eat. It maybe just doesn't look perfect. And we redistribute it to 1,300 community food programs across Australia, and there it gets turned into delicious, nutritious meals for people in need.
Elaine, when you say you rescue the food, give our viewers a little bit of an insight. Where does the food come from that used to be thrown out into landfill? Where are you getting this food now?
Yeah, we're getting it from a variety of sources. So we pick up food from supermarkets, from food retailers, from growers directly, and from like farmers markets and so on. So it's fresh food that might have a few blemishes on it, or the carrots might be wonky rather than straight. So they're just not of premium quality to be sold, but they're perfectly good to eat.
Because coming from here in WA, we obviously sometimes we have a lot of functions here, and I've been to functions where you've got huge buffets, and at the end of the buffets, as you know, people don't eat everything, and I used to say to the hotel, do you give that to charity? And they used to say, no, we can't, we're not allowed to give it away. Have laws changed and rules changed where now they can give that away?
Yeah, I mean, there are still some restrictions, but essentially a law was introduced. It's called the Good Samaritan Act. And what that does, so if you want to donate some food to a charity, it basically covers you. If you're giving that food in good faith and the charity is taking reasonable care to ensure that the food is safe, and that the charity is then not charging any money for that food, then the Good Samaritan provides protection for the food donor. But, I mean, there are limits. I mean, we do collect food from big events. So, for example, we partner with the Victorian Racing Club. So during the Spring Carnival, we get some gorgeous food from that. But it's all food that hasn't even left the caterer's cool room. It's not as though it's sort of a few leftover sandwiches.
It's obviously food, Elaine, that clearly can go to other people. There's nothing wrong with it apart from the fact you say, like, they might have some blemishes or, it's food that would have been thrown out. I think it's wonderful what you're doing with it. Now, do you operate all around Australia, or is it just in Melbourne at the moment?
No, we started off in Melbourne, but we redistribute fresh food across Australia now. So we've got warehouses around Victoria, in Tassie, and we've got warehouses up in Brisbane and Sydney, and we've got some shared warehouse space in Adelaide, and we work through partner at the moment in WA, and then we've got other partners that work with us in Northern Territory and ACT.
I think the work you do is wonderful. We've got a local organisation here in Perth called Food Bank that does similar work to what you do, but I love the fact you're dealing with fresh food, which is amazing. It's not tin food or food that can be non-perishable.
Yeah, and when, Secondbite is 10 years old this year, and when we were set up, it was with that very point in mind, because recognising that fresh food is so important for health and well-being, particularly fresh fruit and vegetables, and yet it's really hard to access for people in need, and a lot of the emergency food programs couldn't get access to fresh food. So that's why we've got such a strong focus on fresh fruit. And in fact, 75% of all the food that we redistribute is fresh. So it's fresh fruit and vegetables, dairy and meat. And 95% of all the food that we redistribute is nutritious in accordance with the Australian dietary guidelines. So it's not just about calories.
Yes.
It's about getting, nutritious food, because if you're going through a tough time, you need, healthy, nutritious food more than ever.
Talk about the problem. Why do we have such a big problem in Australia?
Well, that's a really good question, because, we're producing so much food. We produce far more food than we need, and yet, we're wasting so much. If we didn't waste so much food, then I think there would be enough to feed the 2 million people who are really struggling to feed themselves and their families. In fact, I was fortunate to be at the World Economic Forum in Jakarta earlier this year, and people, lots of global business leaders, people from government, other sort of social entrepreneurs, they found it very difficult to believe that in a country like Australia, there was even a need for an organisation like Secondbite, because I'm saying it's such a wealthy country, you produce so much beautiful food, how come there's people going hungry? And it just shouldn't be happening.
Do you know, Elaine, I find one of the biggest problems is that people say there's too much, it's too hard to give it away, it's too hard for someone to come and pick it up, and I don't think that's an excuse anymore.
No. Contact us, we'll take it.
Tell me how people can help you. Now, I know around Australia there'll be people watching the show saying, OK, I know Food Bank, but this is great.
Yep.
Secondbite's been around 10 years. How do we get involved with Secondbite? So if I'm Coles New World, or Coles, as they call themselves these days, if I want to get involved with helping you, how do we do it?
Yeah, well, you can contact us on, I think you've got that number.
The 1-800? 263 283. I think we've got it on screen as well, but I'll give it out. It's 1-800 263 283 is the hotline. Give them a call, and your staff can help them and organise a system to go and pick up the food and all that sort of thing.
Definitely. As I said, we can, so we've got operations across Australia. We've actually got, we've got another method of collecting food called Community Connect, so we can actually connect a food donor with a local community food program. So even if we haven't got a presence, so for example, like in Alice Springs or Tom Price, we've got the processes and procedures in place. So we just hook up the food donor, whether it's a supermarket or whatever, and the community food program, so they can get the food directly. That's another way we actually extend the reach of what we do. Now,
I'm assuming, like most charities, you're struggling to get cash funds. If people want to help you with cash donations, are you happy to help them with that too?
Absolutely, yeah. We get very little government money, so we have to fundraise.
Fantastic. You do an amazing job. Congratulations on 10 years.
Thank you so much.
I know what it's like to do charity work. For 12 years we've been making this show, and we still do it because you need passionate people who love what they do, and you're clearly that, Elaine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well done. That's the CEO, Elaine Montegriffo. Don't forget, if you want more information and you missed any of the details, check out our website, or to do that, you need to follow our contact promo. Here it is.
If you're looking for more info on anything you've seen on today's show, head to thecouch.com.au. It's where you'll find all the links for our guests, plus clips from the show, backstage photos, and even exclusive movie reviews. You can also sign up as a couchie and be part of our competitions, including Spin It to Win It. New Zealand viewers, that's open to you too. So jump online and check it out now. thecouch.com.au.
What a wonderful organisation Secondbite is. Please take a second look. They do a wonderful job, as well as Food Bank and all the others. Somebody else that does a great job is our next guest, Helen Devereaux. Of course, My Budget
Trainer.
There you go, we got it right, because it's not planner, it's My Budget Trainer. And welcome back. You were with us a few weeks ago. But today I thought we'd get you back to talk about credit cards.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And I know we've got a 5-minute slot today, so let's talk about credit cards. Paying the minimum on a $6,500 credit card. How does that all work? Because people are a little bit confused, aren't they?
Well, now on the statements, they're finally putting, if you pay the minimum payment, it shows it. And on a $6,500 credit card, it's going to take you 72 years to pay it off.
So if you and I had a $6,500 credit card,
yes,
we would be okay, because the bank would close down before
That's right,
we
we'd
do.
be 6 foot under.
72 years.
72
and do you know
years.
what? I'd have to say, I bet you there's a lot of people that aren't even aware of that. $6,500 is nothing in big terms, but until you pay it off with the minimum payment, it could be, how much would a minimum payment on something like that be?
$120
a month.
Yes, and it would accrue to about $40,000.
But you think about it, after 2 years, you would have paid off that debt that you had.
If you doubled that payment, you would be halving. Well, a couple of years and it's paid off. Absolutely.
Amazing. And how can we avoid getting into trouble with credit cards? Because I know...
Clear them every month.
Is that how you do it? Is that easier said than done?
Well, that's it. We've got to come back to planning our money and what we're going to do with it, and clearing them each month.
What about Christmas? You know, people always say, I'm going to start buying my Christmas gifts. Is there a way that we can limit that credit card debt blowing out?
Good to bring that up, because we're only about 20 weeks away from Christmas.
And I want to make sure you save your money to buy me a nice
And if you start
present.
putting away now, because how many people, Christmas has come, we do leave busy lives, and then you're in pain in January trying to look at how you're going to pay it all off.
And you know, I always find these deceiving sales, you know, the after Christmas, the Boxing Day, the Christmas night, soon will be Christmas Day sale, or the night before Christmas sale. People rush out thinking they're getting a bargain. So the only way they can afford it is by putting it on their credit card.
Yes.
It's wrong, isn't it?
Well, where's
It's not
the
a good
bargain
thing.
in the end? It might be a bargain at the time of the purchase, right then and there for the price, but if you're putting it on your credit card and you're going to take 72 years to pay it off, there's no bargain, is there?
And we were talking about, you know how all these banks now, we were talking about this last time. I got a letter in the mail from the NAB, the National Australia Bank. They offered me a transfer facility where, say I've got a debt with ANZ Bank of $10,000, the NAB says, apply for a transfer, you can transfer it over, and for 12 months, we won't charge you any interest. Is that how it all works?
Well, there's a lot of those deals out there. If you
You can get
actually
up
go
to
and do a
24
Google
months.
search, yes, and I do that with a couple of my clients, especially ones that are up around $60,000 credit card debt. So we concentrate on getting one cleared.
So how does it work? What do they actually do when they do something like
You're
that?
actually applying, and for the full amount, transfers. So you still got to make sure that you're servicing, can meet the servicing of it, then it gets transferred over. And the whole idea is not to use that card though, because you've got an interest-free period. That's the greatest time to make your payments, pay a little bit extra.
So in other words, if you
drop
owe
it down.
10 grand and I move it from one bank to another and I get a 24-month interest free, there's no interest on the card, no fees apart from probably the annual fee.
No.
And you basically should use that 24 months to try and make bigger payments
Definitely.
because there's no interest.
Yes.
But I know of people, Helen, that transfer their debt over but not completely, and they end up with that old credit card and then the new one. So that you've got to be sort of smart and be careful.
I see that with my clients. So it's either chop it up, just chop it up, put it in the freezer, or some of them actually hand their cards to me. And I look after them so they can't use it.
You'd
That
be a
does happen.
popular lady. Do you get their PIN numbers as well? It's hard to talk about these issues, but you know, I said to you last time, in a tough economic time when people are struggling, people are using their credit cards more. I read only a couple of days ago on WA Today, there's like a $20 billion debt per day or something in Australia on credit cards.
Yes, because the average Australian is spending 116% of their income. So we've got to come back, and I know times are tough, everything's going up, wages aren't going up, but you have to learn how to live underneath your income. And when you've not... we've become more of a cashless society.
Correct.
So that's why it's vital to do your planning and your tracking.
Because we used to get the
So you
$200 a
see-
week, you put aside all your
Yes.
split billing.
That's
now
right.
you don't see it because it all comes
No.
out of your account. And if you're like me, I just pay things, I'll worry about it next week. And then you realise you get this huge credit card debt and you can't cope. Just quickly, the credit card on a holiday and a credit card, good or bad idea to do? Do people do this, putting their holiday on a credit card?
Usually how they do it, because we don't save. That's why we all have credit card debt. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, plan your holiday and start putting some money away for it. And because, you know, if you're not clearing your credit card each month, you're accruing interest.
Yep.
So that sale, that holiday has lost its fun because you're stuck with paying it off.
How can you help people if they need some help with credit cards or just their debt or managing their budget?
Just phone me and have a chat. And
What's
we
your
can see,
website, Helen?
www.mybudgettrainer.com.au.
10 out of 10, you got that right.
I did this time, didn't I?
They say, Chinese wisdom says, a lady who knows website is good budget trainer. Thank you very much for coming in. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Just before you go, can I just give you, I've got a bit of a problem, if you don't mind, just taking my credit card. If you just
Love
take
it.
my credit card, I
Okay,
don't need
I'll
it
look
anymore.
after that for
I'll
you
get
free.
I'll get the address changed. Thanks very much. That's
Okay.
Helen Devereaux. We'll see you at the other side of this break with more Couch. Hope you can stick around because we've got more fun coming up. We'll see you then. Thanks, Helen. Welcome back to the Couch here on Foxtel. Hope you're enjoying the program. We've had a busy day today. Now it's going to get even busier. I've got 3 books on my desk and we've got one author and 5 minutes to talk to him. David Finchley is in Melbourne. Thank you for being on the couch today.
It's my pleasure.
Now you're standing at the front of the MCG and I'm amazed. I'm assuming it's very cold there at the moment.
It is freezing.
So let's warm everybody up by talking about your great books. Tell me a little bit about the David Finchley story. How did you start writing?
I started writing, well, I'm a doctor by profession and I'm still practicing. I've had an interest in writing for most of my life, but work has been too busy until the last few years. And I started about 2 or 3 years ago and finished the 3 books in the last 12 months.
Now, do you find as a doctor, it gives you a bit of insight into the books or they've nothing to do with anything at all medical?
Only one gold standard is medical, and it's about a neurologist, although it's not at all autobiographical. The others are not medical, and my intention is not to write about medical matters at all.
Have you enjoyed going from being a doctor to being a writer of a book? Is it a big difference?
Oh, it's a totally big difference. I love the writing. I don't know if I'm any good or not, but I love doing it.
Now, you've written 3 books I've got in front of me. Let's start with Switch. Tell us what that one's about.
Well, Switch was an idea I had about people mixing up their luggage on an aeroplane, and there's to be a man who's a hero and a woman who mix up their luggage. When I had that idea, I had no concept at all where it was heading, and as I wrote it, I kept expanding on it, and it's about a man whose wife has left him. Mm-hmm. He travels to Sydney, he's an accountant on business, and his bag is switched seemingly accidentally with a beautiful woman much younger than him who turns out to be a prostitute.
So he's David Goodman, isn't he? He's David Goodman.
He is, Nathan Goodman.
Nathan Goodman, and he's
yes.
married to Sylvia Gold.
Yes.
Okay.
And Cassandra is the girl he accidentally meets because their bags were switched.
Yep.
And I don't want to give too much away because there's a bit more to it than that.
It's obviously a fiction book, and it's retailing at $24.95. Sounds like a good read. The Eden Effect. Tell me about that one.
Well, the Eden Effect is the first one that I completed, and the premise behind the Eden Effect is that we're so exposed to news, especially news from faraway places, and mostly news that's horrible. Murders, rapes, all sorts of killings, explosions. And my thought is that all this exposure, which we get 24 hours a day, can't possibly be having a good effect on us. And the thesis behind the book is to explore that and to explore what might happen if we're shielded from all that exposure.
And I love the tag on the book. It says, what if news really is good? What if no news is really good news? Isn't that the way it is? But like you just said, most of the news we see on TV today is all negative. It's all about terrorism. It's all about wars. It's about planes crashing and people dying and disasters.
That's right.
When we see Tony Abbott, it's the only good news we sort of get these days. And I don't think it's supposed to be good news. So the Eden Effect, who would you be directing? What sort of person would you say should read that, apart from TV presenters?
Well, I mean, I think it really is for all ages. It's not really aimed at any particular age group. I mean, I'm 68. That doesn't mean it's only for people in their later years, but I think any age group could read it, yes.
Fantastic. And finally, we've got the book called The Gold Standard, or Gold Standard. Tell me what that one's about.
Well, gold standard is a term referred to in medicine where when one tries a new drug, the gold standard for proof of the drug working is comparing it with a placebo in a blinded fashion. That's the gold standard. What's called a double-blind randomised controlled trial. And the book is about a cure for brain cancer, which is discovered, but the discovery is done by means which are less than ethical. The hero of the book finds this out, and he has this moral dilemma whether to expose the unethical practices for a drug that actually does work well.
So this is the book that you would probably be your favourite, I would say, because it's got the medical background.
No, Switch is actually my favourite.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
It's out of your comfort zone, isn't it? Now, you've had a bit of an exciting life too. You were born in Germany in 1946. How was that growing up over there?
Well, I only spent 4 years there, and I have no memory of it at all. My parents left Germany when I was 4.
Okay, and you obviously moved to Australia. Now,
Yes.
do you think you're going to write more books, or you're going to have a break for a while? Because I know you've written 3. That's quite a lot.
I've written a 4th, which is with the editor, who's looking at my 3rd draft, and I'm hoping to hear back soon whether it's any good or not. And I've got a 5th one planned, but not quite started.
So where do you get the time to write the books, David? Because as a doctor, you're very, very busy.
I've cut down my work, so I only work 3.5 days a week, which gives me spare time.
Now,
and I don't do any on-call work anymore, so I've got a lot of spare time now.
And your specialty is neurology, isn't it?
That's correct, yes.
Fantastic, and that's a very busy topic as well. Well, where can we get the books from if we want to buy them? You said they were all good booksellers, but we've got utopia.com.au, is that right? Booktopia?
Yes, Booktopia. Readings have it, Amazon have it, Bookworld have it. They're the main ones that I'm aware of, yes.
And they're all great prices as well. They're all around $24.95. Great for Father's Day or Christmas coming up as well.
Or every day of the week.
Well done. Well, thank you very much for taking some time out from the football with us today. Stay warm, keep writing books and keep talking to us, and we'll support you next time you write your next one, the 4th one. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us today.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. That's David Finchley, a doctor, neurology doctor, who's taken it a little bit light on life now. He's relaxing a little bit less as a doctor and writing these great books, 3 of them out. Gold Standard, The Eden Effect, if you missed it, and, of course, Switch. And to go for a switch, we're going to go to a break now. We'll switch things to come. And after the break, we're going to talk Tesla Coil. Stick around. Well done. Welcome back to the couch here on Aurora Television Foxtel. Hope you're enjoying the program. We're going to talk a bit of science now. Grace and I have been going back to university in this last segment, or we are going back because Blake's a lot smarter than us, isn't he, Grace? We're going to talk Tesla Coil, and Grace, take it over.
Thank you very much, Fred. Well, today we're here with Blake Segler, who is a science student at UWA. And can you tell us a little bit about Tesla Coil?
Yeah, so the Tesla Coil that I'm going to be showing you today was first sort of made by a famous physicist called Nikola Tesla, who was really famous for a lot of the work he did with electricity. So pretty much all ideas of AC, electricity distribution, the current that runs through all of our main devices, are pretty much very much thanks to the work that he did. And so what I've got is one of our outreach demonstrations that we normally show to high school students, get them excited in physics. The one we normally show is actually really, really large, probably about 10 times the size I'll show you the one today.
Blake, before you do that, can I ask you, what made Tesla, because I know Grace is younger than us, but what made Tesla, what was his technique? What did he do that made electricity work?
Well, like most physicists, he really just mucked around a bit and explored some different ideas.
In his bedroom, instead of iPads and playing games, he played with what, sticking his fingers in the PowerPoint, or there wasn't like
something like that. And
he was a famous man. We're underselling it. He, I think, invented the phone. the first radio, I think. There was wireless power. He invented so many electrical stuff that we never ever hear about him. We had a couple of exhibitions here in Perth in a couple of years ago, the Tesla exhibition, which is an amazing, amazing thing. And for people who don't know a lot about it, they can buy the book, they can look it up on the web, look up Google, folks. There's so much about Tesla. Did you know a lot about him?
No, not really
You
at all.
just plug in your power, your
I don't really think
iPhone.
about it. I just switch things on.
Amazing man.
Well, yeah, the device we're looking at is pretty much the basis, as you said, of wireless electricity as we know it.
Pop it up
and
on the
even,
desk. I know you and Grace are
Amazing.
dying to electrocute me.
Yeah, I'll give you a look at it. So the one we're looking at over here is
You can get up if you want. It's a lot easier for you.
relatively small. As we said, the one we normally demonstrate to students is about 10 times the size of this.
Now, did Tesla take this box with him everywhere he went?
Not everywhere he went. They actually did used to showcase these at a lot of high-class parties and events like that, though. So that was sort of your high-end entertainment, was watching some high electricity
So this
devices.
is not like putting a fork in a toaster, is it?
So what is this?
No,
then?
no.
I'm not going to...
What is it that
Explode.
we've got here? Is it a car battery? What is it?
So we've plugged it into the mains electricity.
Yep.
And what we're doing is passing it through a circuit that's involving a series of transformers and other devices. And so what it's going to do is give us a really, really high voltage output from our little wire stick out of here.
Okay.
So if I turn it on, you should be able to see.
Is there any chance that anyone can...
Hopefully, see.
Oh, I knew Western Power cut off the power. Have you
here
got
we
a plug?
go. Hopefully I can see some really nice fast power. And it takes about 10,000 volts per centimetre of air to create a spark. So,
So what is that?
probably-
What is that? A coil? Is this what we call
it's
a
just
coil?
a round coil that's going through here.
And what
coming
is
out
a
of it is
coil?
probably...
Tell us what a coil is, because I mean you're saying it's a coil. What is a coil? Because none of us know what you're talking about. We
Well,
know
this
it's a
part
round
is
thing.
literally just wiring that's being wound all the way around
And it's
here.
made of what?
Pardon?
Is it zinc? Is it brass?
Copper, probably.
Copper, there
So
you go.
your normal wire that you find running through your walls.
So if Grace was to lick that end, would she get electrocuted?
I have actually
go.
expressly been told
Do
that
it
I'm not
first.
allowed to lick the Tesla coil.
Oh, we don't mind. So it looks really interesting. Would it give you a big shock? Would it electrocute us if we touched it?
Well, we
actual
might
coil?
find out a little bit later. But it is about 20,000 volts of electricity
Have
that's
fun,
coming out
Grace.
of there.
Oh, I
thanks,
can't
Fred.
stand that long.
But so
Grace.
rather than licking it, what we can do is use that to use electricity. So I can take
Okay,
my
let's
light
have a
here.
look. We're going
If
to turn
I-
the lights down, are we?
Yeah.
Hold it up. Hang on a sec. We're going to do it again because we
Do it
didn't
again?
take a shot of it. We're going to do it again. There you go.
Lights us over there. And what's more impressive, though, as you said, is this was actually the foundation of wireless technology.
Can I hold that?
So,
Can we try it one more time with me holding
yeah,
it?
well, what I'll get you to do, Fred, is I'll actually disconnect this completely.
Okay.
So this is not plugged into
So this
anything
is what you're
anymore.
saying
I can
about
hold
wireless
it.
And you can hold this. And if you
Look
bring
at this,
that...
Grace. I've got the PowerPoint there.
Oh, if you bring
Okay.
that near to this Tesla coil now, you can see that it's lighting up even when it's not connected.
You want to lift that in? Doesn't it scare you?
So
That's
that's doing
wireless
is...
power.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Can you get a bigger one of this? Could run my house in Balga?
Yeah, well, as we said, the one we normally do is probably 10 times the size, produces sparks about 400,000 volts of electricity.
So can you put it like back there and we'll go...
Yeah, it would be probably about this sort of length of the
That would
sparks.
still work.
What about with a fork? What will happen with the fork?
Yeah, well, so you know, as I'm sure you do, that you're not allowed to stick your fork in the toaster, definitely not stick it in the
you fucked
power
that up.
sockets. But because we physicists like to live it dangerously, what I can do is I can
Why
take
do you
this.
like living dangerously? Can I ask
It
you?
just makes it a little bit more interesting.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 20 or so thousand volt source and
Yeah.
I can hold my fork up.
Why aren't you getting electrocuted?
Well, because there's sort of two aspects to electricity that we tend to look at. One's the voltage, which is said is really, really, really high. But the other is the current. And the current through this, which is actually what harms us and kills us, is incredibly small.
Okay.
As well as that, there's also the frequency that we tend to look at. So your alternating current through the walls actually alternates about 50 times a second, whereas this is
Fair
about
enough.
200,000 times a second. And one thing that means is that it doesn't penetrate through things much. So all this current just basically flows over the surface of my skin, doesn't get through to the harder, important organs.
Are you getting this, Grace? Because I'm totally confused.
And so if we're really daring,
Mind-blowing.
I can forgo the fork altogether,
Yeah.
and I can...
Does that hurt?
Yeah, it's a little bit...
Oh, Oh, I'm not going to.
Don't do it,
I still
Grace.
think I'd love to see.
The fork won't hurt you at all.
Who wants to see Grace and Blake lick the wire?
Give the fork a go, because the fork doesn't
If I had to lick now, would it be really bad?
Oh, no,
you probably wouldn't kill yourself, but you get a bit of a start.
It's a new way of disinfecting the fork.
Yeah. And so again, that's all to do with the current flow. While you're holding the fork, you've got some good surface contact to allow less current to flow through any surface point. When I do it off the hand, there's just one tiny point that's touching, so it's a much larger current on that spot.
Now, I know we've been given the wind-up, but tell us about the outreach program, because it's a great
yes.
program.
Can you tell us how do you go around to schools and excite kids about science?
So often we just do it basically out of UWA, because it means we can use our much larger displays. But so we have a lot of groups coming through, some of them enrichment programs. We've just had, I think, the Aspire kids come through us. And then we've also got a lot of rural and disadvantaged schools that come in that wouldn't normally get to see a lot of physics, but get to see some of that stuff through us as well.
So what's your advice to kids wanting to get involved in science, and how can they find more about this?
Well, again, one way is to just go online. So obviously you can come to our own page at the School of UWA, which I'm sure Fred can put up on the screen for you. The other is obviously just Googling physics topics and things like that, and studying the right subjects at school, so physics and mathematics and that sort of thing.
Can I show you a little trick that I've learned? See the TV over there? Can we take it? I'll get the director to take a shot of the TV. See how it's off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Look what I can do just by having the Tesla Coil. I'll touch it. Look at this. Look at this. It's not working, Blake. Who destroyed the power? Forget it. It didn't work. Someone's turned the TV
You
off.
should go study physics, Fred.
I know. I'm going to have to go and study. Look, it's working now, but don't worry about it. The joke's gone. So the outreach program, can anyone take part of it?
Well, yeah, I think that most schools should be able to apply just through the UWA to get a program set up for them.
Yep.
And we perform them regularly for a variety of different students to show them some of the more exciting aspects of physics.
Do you love doing this science stuff?
I absolutely do. And as you can see, it's some exciting stuff to be doing.
Exciting.
Are you a
And
single
exciting
man?
to get the reactions that we're getting from you and from the rest of the...
Blake, are you a single man?
Pardon?
Are you single?
I am single.
Because I reckon there's women out there, and men probably as well, let's be fair, that are going to be wanting to get into science. But I've just heard in my earpiece, they want you to lick that wire, but will it kill you?
I haven't done it myself yet.
No.
I think it's possible, but
You're
it will be a
gutless.
little bit of a shocking experience.
Where can we get more information? Grace won't do it either. I think she wants to be back next week. Thank you for being on the show today. Thank you, Gracie.
Thank you, Fred.
What a great little segment. We need to both go back to uni. And
Yes.
the best place to do it is at UWA, because they've got a fantastic science department, haven't they?
That's true. We've got a wonderful science department.
And the website is on screen right now if you'd like more information. Check out the UWA Science website. There it is there. Can you read that for us?
Myself?
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's just science.uwa.edu.au.
Thanks for putting some spark in our life today, and thank you for being on the show. We'll see.
Thank you for having me.
The UWA Science people will be back next week. Thank you, Grace, as well. That is it for the show this week. Thank you for watching. We're going to leave you with a lovely young girl. Farraday Tween is singing for us. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, Australia, and have a great week. Bye-bye.
I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I've tried and I don't know why. Slow it down, make it stop, or else my heart is going to pop. 'Cause it's too much, yeah, it's a lot to be something I'm not. I'm a fool out of love, and I just can't get enough. I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I tried and I don't know why. don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I've tried, and I don't know why. I'm just a little girl lost in the moment. I'm so scared, but I don't show it. I can't figure it out. It's bringing me down. I know I got to let it go and just enjoy the show. Da-dum-dee-dum, da-dum-dee-dum. Just enjoy the show.